Hello everyone. Welcome to the Coffeehouse Corner Club with yours truly, Debby Needles, where we share sips, stories, and songs. And I want to say Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me here today for our monthly coffee date. I also want to share that it is definitely winter here in the Midwest. We have snow on the ground, and I love this time of year because it brings forth reflection and solitude, and it is so quiet outside, which I love. So I am very happy to be here in this place at this time. I'm also excited, guys, because I get to share with you today and perform for you a song, the very first song I ever wrote, called Her Voice. And I wrote it back in 1993, and I cannot wait to perform that and tell you the story of that as well. So stay tuned, and I am going to start the story of Her Voice. Back in 93, when I wrote it, into 94, there was, we had the Northridge earthquake that took place in the San Fernando Valley, Southern California. And I believe that was in February of that year. And a lot of us were all shooken up, literally and figuratively. And I remember one night, a few months after, we got a call out of nowhere, my husband and I, from his brother-in-law, just an ordinary weeknight, just preparing for the next day of work. And he said, "Hey, Harley just called, and she wants us to come up to Norman Lear's house and bring your acoustic guitar. Maybe we'll be able to, meet them, and who knows what might happen at this awesome event." And Harley was the nanny, a friend of ours, and she was the nanny at the time of Norman Lear, who is a very wonderful, famous American television writer and producer, and wrote many of the sitcoms that we watched in the 1970s. The one that most of us are familiar with is All in the Family, with the crazy character Archie Bunker. And anyhow, he was having an event that Kathy Mattea, the country western singer and bluegrass singer, as well as Aaron Neville, the R&B soul singer, were performing at, and it was in honor of AIDS awareness, and I believe it was a fundraiser, and I think the memorial quilt was there as well, and they were needing a guitar, I guess, to entertain everybody at this big celebrity event. And we thought, sure, here we come. So we found out where the address is, and it was over in Beverly Hills. And it turns out that they were in this house that was owned by Carol Burnett, because their house was damaged from the Northridge earthquake. And of course, it was this fabulous, fabulous house, gorgeous, that just looked over the city of Los Angeles. And we didn't want to be intrusive and, look like these intruders, because we weren't officially invited to the event. But so we just kind of stood to the side, and we could see, going up these stairs, looked down, and we could see Aaron Neville and Kathy Mattea performing this beautiful song. And they were just ending the song as we walked in. And they're on this beautiful piano, and we thought, oh no, we missed it. We missed the performance. And I believe the event was after that, just starting to wrap up. And Harley said, guys, sorry, I guess they don't need the guitar after all, but I'm still glad you're here. I'll show you around. And we went into this library room with a pool table, and you could see this wonderful swimming pool out the window and all the lights of the city. And I just thought, wow, I can't believe I'm in Carol Burnett's house. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. And next thing I know, the party wraps up, and she said, hey, I want you to come meet Norm and Kathy. They're still here, or Kathy's still here. Would you like to do that? And of course, we're like, okay, sure. So we go into the living room, and there's, these, lovely couches, and Kathy's like, oh, hey, is that your guitar? And I'm like, yeah. And so she takes it from, says, hey, can I play it? Just sure. I said, absolutely. So she takes my guitar and starts plucking away and on the guitar. And next thing I know, she says, would you like to perform a song for us. And at the time, Dave, my brother-in-law, Brad, my husband, and myself, we were in a band at the time, and I can't remember, we were like acoustic band, then we went electric, and then I think right after that, I went acoustic, and they were going electric, and we just had all this, stuff going on musically at the time. But I had just written my first song, so I was still a novice. And so Dave says to her, well, sure, we'd love to play a song for you Debbie just wrote called Her Voice. Not expecting this at all. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, can I pull this off? I was like scared, of course, because I'm in this room with greatness in this gorgeous room. And it just all like came out of nowhere, this whole opportunity. So, and Norman's like, yeah, that would be great. And we thought, oh, okay. So David started to play the guitar and strum the first chords. And then I sang, and I think I was like outside of my body performing this song because I can't even remember anything about it till it was over. And just remember the room just sounded beautiful, though. I can remember hearing it just echo through the chambers in this living room. And Kathy Mattea, when it ended, looked over at me and she said, whoa, that was really deep. And she's like, we've all kind of felt that way before in our lives. And I don't even remember what else she said, but I could tell she was kind of alluding to the fact that, like, wow, this song is about being down in the dumps or being depressed. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, did I write a song about depression? Like, where did this come from? Because this song really wrote itself. When I wrote it, I was just playing chords. I didn't even know the name of these chords. They were seventh chords and I used to love to play around, with chords. I knew the major chords, but I didn't know anything else besides that. And just remember thinking how beautiful they were, and they were so deep, and they inspired me so much that these lyrics just poured out. So on the way home, we're driving over the canyon, going back into the valley where we lived in Studio City at the time. And I remember asking myself the question, like, oh my gosh, am I depressed? And then what it dawned on me is, and the best way I can describe it is, my friend's mother said to her just recently how she was in the winter of her life, which she's just turned 80. And I love that analogy, and it got me like thinking more like, okay, so that means the spring of our life is like from ages 0 to 25, 25 to 50 is the summer of your life, and so forth. And I literally was in my early 20s, just getting ready to go into the summer season of my life. And I think I was depressed because I was ready to become stronger as a person. I started having a vision of where I wanted my life to go. And I knew to do that, I was going to need more time. And I was going to have to start saying no more to people and stop going with everybody else's plans for me or their plans and trying to drag me along, as an accomplice into their beautiful vision. And I knew people weren't going to be happy with me. And I never liked to make people unhappy with me. And I think I was just scared, and I was feeling sad because I felt just repressed, like, oh my God, like I need to just change things. And I really was confused. I didn't really even understand why I was feeling that way. But now, 27 years later, I can look back now and understand what that song was about. And in fact, many of the songs that I wrote that are on my Black Tree EP that I did just reissue digitally, like on Spotify and what have you. A lot of those songs, I didn't even know what they were about. They were really cryptic, and I was like, I don't really understand. I'm writing these songs, and I don't even know what my own songs mean. That's very bizarre. But it made me feel better when I read years later, Phil Collins said the same thing. There was another artist that said the same thing. He's like, I wrote all these songs, and I don't even know what they were about. And Phil Collins' songs were like huge hits, and he was like saying the same thing. So my theory is it's your subconscious coming out, and your internal voice, your authentic self, trying to come forth and tell you what you need to hear to move forward onto your path. And that's really what this song is about. It's also about the duality of life, how we live in a dark and light world, polar opposite world. We have, hot, cold. We have, happy, sad. And it's really about not denying the dark side of life. Not that you have to live in it, but know that it's in all of us, and its potential to, rear its ugly head at us is always going to be there. And I think we always are trying to make this decision of, okay, I want to make the choice that's going to be the choice on the side of the light, but it's okay, I'm human, and human beings are also part of this duality. And I could go on and on about some of these moments in life that just hit me like, whoa, like that have stuck with me forever. And one of them is in this song about, I just remember the black tree, that during El Nino in 1983, just this gorgeous lake of water, that filled up in a subdivision that was just, basically, it wasn't built yet, but it was all the land was like all formed and ready for all the, the lots to be built on. And I was up on this bluff and looking over, and there was a full moon, and this solitaire, if you will, oak tree just sitting there, and the moon was glowing over it. You could just see all its black branches, and the moon just reflecting on this water that wasn't supposed to be there. I mean, it like became a lake. And I just remember that moment being the most gorgeous moment I've ever witnessed. Like, I just was transfixed and thinking, I can't believe, like, this is like a dream, but it was really happening. And it made me remember, like, how, like, sometimes those trees can be so scary. And it really hit me hard how something so dark and scary can also be so turned into something so beautiful. And really that kind of set the stage for a lot of the songs I wrote after that, for probably that whole decade. So I wanted to talk about, this is the book that I introduced last month. This book, The Wisdom of the Enneagram, talks about those moments that we live for, that stick with us forever. And that was one of probably 10 that I had that were life-changing. And it's because you're so aware in that moment of life all around you that you cannot be affected by it. The other thing I wanted to just mention before I start the song is, this is the book that I finished about a month ago called The Hilarious World of Depression by John Moe. He really has the podcast with the same title, and then wrote the book after the fact. And I wanted to bring this up because we all feel depressed at some times in our lives, but sometimes for some of us, it can be clinical and really severe. And we've lost so many amazing, talented artists from our time due to things like depression. I mean, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, a lot of the artists in the 90s, Chester Bennington. And I love this book because I read about it like in People magazine or something. Like, I always get like my book reviews from magazines. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm really interested in that, because we, all know people that might suffer from severe depression. And I'm not just talking about the occasional depression, like this is severe, where like they hear, voices and, they think suicidal thoughts. And I wanted to introduce this book because what I love about him is he actually went and got a therapist, and he has been constantly working on himself, knowing how much he loves his family and he wants to be there for them. And he's got 3 children and a wife. And he is so funny. His dry humor, I mean, I would laugh out loud, and everyone would go, ask me, like, why are you laughing? You're reading a book. I'm like, because his humor is he's funny. I love the guy. And he really tells a wonderful story, and it's a very quick read. And I think all of us could benefit from reading this, because it really takes us into the mind of somebody who really, suffers deeply from this. And I never really understood it until I read this book of what was going on in the mind of somebody like that. So pick it up. Great read, guys. It's all about learning about our humanity and how we can all stay more connected and helpful to one another and be more understanding of each other. So I will now perform for you her voice. And thanks again, guys, so much for listening today. Thanks, guys, so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you all next month for our next date. And if you want to listen to her voice recorded with the wonderful band that I played with back in the day, many moons ago, and recorded the song, please feel free to go on to all your favorite digital platforms, stores, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. You can just pull up Debby Needles, her voice, and check it out. Thanks again, guys. Love you so much. See you soon. Bye-bye.